Welcome to ComeOnIndia.com website. Welcome to Polity video lectures. In this video, you will see about comparison of federal system with unitary system. At present, government system of any country can be classified under three major types. It means there are three major types of governments exist at present. The government system may be unitary system, federal system, or confederation. What about the differences between federation, unitary and confederation? Let's see these topics. System of government. How to define it? System of government distributes power among the different parts of the country and to the different levels of the state. So 2 points should be remembered, that a system of government distributes the power among the different parts of the country. Second, to the different levels of the state. Normally, there are 2 or 3 levels of the government. One is central government and other one is state government. It is the case in most of the countries. India is unique in having the 3 levels of government. One is central government, second is state government, and third is local government. As you know, local government is brought by 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. What is unitary government? In unitary system, central government has the highest authority. It holds all the power. State government or local government, if it exists, has no or very little power. State governments or local governments just implement the policies of the national government. They can't introduce a new scheme or new policies. Especially in a purely unitary state, the same set of laws applies throughout the nation. It is one of the advantage of the unitary system. It means the laws created or imposed by the central government applies throughout the country uniformly. So if you go to one part of the country, you can predict the laws irrespective of the geographical distribution. Unitary states create national policies and then it's applied uniformly. As already you know, the advantage of the uniformity is that people and businesses know exactly what to expect from the laws, regardless of the geographical location. At the same time, one of the drawbacks of the uniformity is that local differences will not be taken into account. It means every geography is not same. Some state may have more mineral resources, some states may not have. So local conditions differ with each region. If you apply the same rule for all the regions, it will lead to conflicts, which lead to the development of some regions and the less development of some other states. Federation is defined as sharing of the power between the central government and state or provincial or local governing bodies. It is nothing but a distribution of power between the governing organs. It is the essential feature of federalism. There is a general argument that federal system is good for big states, federal state is good for big states, or big countries, and unitary system is good for the smaller countries. Why federal system is good for larger states? Because in larger countries or states, capital may be too far from the interior areas. So to effectively manage the interior areas, distribution of power is essential. So that federalism is good for the big, larger states. But it's not always true. And also, the size of the state does not always reveal the type of government. You may think that if state is big, then it may be a federal state. If the state is small, it may be unitary type of government. But it's not always true. For example, Belgium is a small country. It has confederal system instead of unitary system. The confederal system helps to manage two major ethnicities. The another example is that China, is the largest country, one of the largest country. Instead of federal system, it has unitary government to diffuse the communist values. There are some exceptions are there. So remember this very well for prelims examination. So it's difficult to generalize that big states may have the federal system and small states always has unitary system. It is general perception, but it's not always correct. Now let's see about characteristic features of a federation. A federation should have at least 5 important features. One is written constitution. If a constitution is federal, means it must have a written one. Constitution must be written one so that we can call it as a federal constitution. Now you may ask one question: what is the benefit of written nature of the constitution? The written constitution clearly demarcates the powers between the central government and state government. So one of the benefit of the written constitution, which is the essential feature of the federal system. The second important feature of the federal system is that supremacy of the constitution. Supremacy of the constitution. Central government and state governments derive their powers from the constitution. The constitution is binding on the state and central government. Constitution is binding on the central and state governments. Central and state governments cannot override the provisions of constitution. It's a very important point for the prelims that central and state governments cannot override the provisions of constitution under the federal system. In the federal system, as you know, powers are distributed between the central and state governments. What will happen if one government crosses the limit or encourages the power of other institution? So there should be an authority that can prevent the federal and state governments from encouraging upon others' powers. For that, there's a final Supreme Court. It has a last word in matters of the constitutional affairs. If central government encourages upon the powers of state, then state government can approach the Supreme Court. Supreme Court can give the verdict which hinders the or prohibits the central government from encouraging upon the powers of state. So independence of judiciary is an important feature in the federal system. The fourth important feature of the federal system is that rigidity of the constitution. Rigidity of the constitution is corollary to the supremacy of the constitution. It's important for the prelims that rigidity is corollary to the supremacy of the constitution. Rigidity does not mean that unamendability of the constitution. Constitution can be amended. The powers of amending the constitution should not be confined exclusively to the federal government or to the state government. It means both central government and the state government should have some say in amending the constitution. It's a nature of federalism. The another important feature of federalism is that distribution of powers. As you know, in a federalism, powers are distributed between the central government and the state governments and other constitutional units. So we advise you to remember the 5 important points of a federalism for writing the mains or prelims examination. The 5 characteristic features are supremacy of the constitution, written constitution, rigidity of the constitution, fourth one is distribution of power, and last one is independence of the judiciary. Confederation is nothing but a just opposite to the unitary system. If you take the scale, unitary system stands at the one end and confederation stands at the opposite end of the unitary system. Confederation is nothing but a loose relationship between the smaller political units or states, or you can say local government. In a confederation, the majority of the political power rests with the local government. Central government or federal government has very little power, or you can say no power at all. Local governments have the greater freedom to decide what they wish. Federation often leads to conflicts between the central government and the states. Even in some cases, a confederacy is nothing but more than an agreement or alliance between the independent states. You can say confederation is just above the alliance between independent states. Independent sovereign state can go out of the confederation at any time. Now, let's see the difference between unitary system and confederation. In unitary system, most of the powers are held by the central government, whereas in the confederation, there is a state or the local government has most of the power. In unitary system, most of the people belongs to the national government or citizenship has given to the national government, whereas in confederation, citizens are belong to the state government. Confederation does not have separate citizenship because confederation is nothing but loose association of sovereign states. So people only belongs to the state in case of the confederation. What about the sovereignty? In unitary system, national government or the central government has the sovereignty over the entire nation, whereas in a confederation, there is a state government has the sovereign authority. Confederation does not have sovereign authority. What about right to secede to states? In unitary system, there is a central government has all the powers. States simply follow the instructions given by the central government in the unitary system, whereas in the confederation, sovereign states can go out of the confederation at any time at their will, because confederation is nothing but a loose alliance of the sovereign states. Example for the unitary system, there's a France and most of the monarchies have the unitary system. Gulf Kingdom has monarchy or unitary system. The example for the confederation is that former USSR or at present Belgium has confederation. Difference between the federation and confederation. As you know, in the federal system, most of the powers held by the both central government and state government, because federation is nothing but a distribution of power between central and state governments. But in confederation, most of the powers are held by the state or local government. Citizenship. The people belong to both national and state government, as case may be. But in confederation, people belong to the state government, and confederation is nothing but a loose association of sovereign states. What about sovereignty? Here in federation, both national government and state government has sovereign authority, whereas in confederation, it's a state government that has exclusive sovereign authority. Confederation does not have any sovereign authority. Right to secede to states is not available under federal system, but sovereign states can go out of the confederation at any time. Legal relationship. There's a legal relationship exists between the federation and its people, but in confederation there is no such legal relationship between the confederation and its people. Example for the federal system is USA, India and other countries. Example for the confederation is former USSR and Belgium. Now let's see the difference between the federal system and unitary system. Power is distributed between the central and the state governments in case of the federal system, whereas in the unitary system, most of the powers are held by the central government. State governments does not have the power or little power. People belongs to both national government and state governments. For example, in USA, people have federal citizenship rights and state citizenship right, whereas in the unitary system, there's only a single citizenship or people belongs to the national government. Sovereignty. In case of federal system, both national government and state governments have sovereign authority, whereas in the unitary system, it is the national government that has exclusive sovereign rights. Right to secede to states. It is not available under both the systems, whether it is being federal or unitary. Right to secede is only available under the confederation system. Examples for federation is like USA, India, etc. Example for unitary system is France, monarchies, etc. Legal relationship between the government and people exists in the federal system and also in unitary system, but there is no such legal relationship occurs in the confederation. Federal system is more suitable for the bigger states, whereas unitary system is more suitable for smaller countries. In federal system, it is not possible for the totalitarianism, whereas in case of unitary system, there is a high possibility of totalitarianism or authoritarianism. Thank you for watching this video. and inform your friends about our website, that is commandindia.com. Thank you.